Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. My name is Reinhard, and today I'll be lighting up together with you Perdomo's Nicaragua Connecticut. We're smoking Perdomo Nicaragua Connecticut. Well, speaking of Nicaragua, there might be some confusion when it comes to the name, because originally this vitola and this line is called the Perdomo Habano Connecticut, whereas in certain countries around the world, the term Habano cannot be used for non-Cuban cigars. Thus, in our part of the world, and where I live in, it's called the Nicaragua Connecticut. In any case, it features a most delicate, pristine-looking Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, minimal veins, a beautifully gorgeous oily sheen, very light brownish hint to it. It goes beautifully well with that golden brown elegant cigar ring from Perdomo that proudly states all the growing regions from Nicaragua. The interesting thing about this Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper is that it was aged for a minimum of 6 years, and only after that, the very best of these wrappers undergo another aging and maturation process in American white oak ex-bourbon barrels. The rest of the blend features Cuban seed from Nicaragua, in this case various growing regions like Condega, Jalapa, Esteli, and even some Ometepe are used in the blend. So the binder as well as the filler all come from Nicaragua. The cigar, of course, like all Perdomo cigars, is 100% handmade, hecho a mano, in the Perdomo factories down in Nicaragua. In this particular case, I'm smoking the Robusto size, which is a hefty 5x54. The smoking time is around 15 minutes for that, and it will give you a most pristine, elegant and creamy smoking experience. It's very well made in terms of the construction, with a solid touch to it, just a slight resistance once you pinch the wrapper, and it is most elegantly manufactured with a gorgeous looking triple cap. Together with the Ecuadorian Connecticut, it makes for a most pristine external look. Very inviting, very invigorating. When it comes to the aromas of the cigar on the foot and off the wrapper, you get some hay, you get some white chocolate, a little bit of white pepper as well. And on the cold draw, similar experience with a little bit of hay, some herbaceous notes coming through, and a distinct little cinnamon. I also get some dried basil leaves, and the resistance and the draw is perfect right out of the gates. Starting off with the first third, we most certainly get a little bit of that typical Connecticut bitterness in the back, in combination with the butter toffee and the more creamy sensations that this type of wrapper will reveal. I get a bit of marzipan, brioche, some almond cream. There's a little bit of fennel seed giving you that aniseed quality in the back, as well as some woody vanilla notes, quince and almond. Moving into the second third, it's quite a consistent evolution that we have here, yet it gets a little deeper, a little sweeter, like all the nuances are turned up a notch. I get some cookies and cream, still some of the dried leaves and herbs that we had in the first third. There's some cream of coconut with that fatty, creamy quality to it. There's some bitter walnut, and I get some white chocolate. Once we reach the final third, a bit more of a salty aspect creeps into the overall equation. In the final third, I get a lot of like lemon thyme, but also some mineral, slightly salty and pretzel type of aromas and flavors. It's quite a dense smoke. It's a very compact body. Even though the cigar overall is somewhere in the mild to medium range, it has quite a distinct full body. The mouthfeel overall is very velvety, and it feels rich and dense. It's a bit salty, as I mentioned, but overall definitely driven and carried by a creamy, nutty mousse-like a white chocolate mousse. And on the retrohale, it gets a bit more characterful with some myrrh, olibanum, and again aniseed, and in particular on the retrohale. In terms of the complexity of the smoke sensation, this one is most certainly intricate and a very balanced stimulation, not too dry, not too sweet, not too coarse. A very developed life cycle carries the cigar into a prolonged finish with an interesting interplay of pepper, salt, some creaminess, some sweetness. It's all there, gently caressing the palate, not too much of anything, not an overwhelming smoke, but rather elegant, refined, and very inviting. The residual scent in the room is very much characterized by a woody, cookies and cream and coconut aroma. The wonderful thing about the cigar is the burn, the construction is just perfect. It's meticulous. I never had to do any touch-ups with the cigars that I was enjoying. A very even, smooth burn line, no issues whatsoever, and a perfect draw on all the different vitolas that I've tried. The backbone of the ash is quite stable, quite firm, with a very white mineral ash that looks just as inviting as the slightly oily and very sheeny wrapper. The cigar gives off a very cool, almost ethereal smoking sensation that keeps you coming back. You always want to go back for another puff, and your palate is never too dry or oversaturated or challenged in any way. I also like the classical look of the Perdomo ring here. The cigar actually features a secondary ring on the foot, which of course I removed for this review in order for me to smoke it. But with that golden, pristine look and the classical Perdomo icon here in the middle, it looks very elegant, and with the Connecticut wrapper in particular, it makes for a pristine appearance. Same goes for the boxes. They also look quite elegant. Now, me personally, I don't have a box of these at home, only the individual sticks, but I've seen the pictures and they all look fantastic. In my opinion, these cigars are also fantastic value for money. All the vitolas are roughly around $10. Now, given the perfect construction, the perfect burn, and that you will always be very pleased by smoking one of these cigars, it's definitely great bang for your buck. Now, I know a lot of people would say probably Connecticut shade wrapper is not for them, and they're looking for something more full-bodied, something more aromatic or deep and rich when it comes to the aroma and flavor. But let me tell you, this is not just any blend Connecticut. It's a very intricate, well-developed and quite complex cigar, especially when you consider the Nicaraguan filler and binder tobaccos. You get a lot of minerality, you get a lot of the herbaceous qualities, some peppery nuances, and a rich and dense overall experience. So for a Connecticut shade, this is certainly an intriguingly complex smoke, which also makes it a great everyday cigar. You could smoke this in the morning with a beautiful cup of coffee or tea. You could have this as a lunch break cigar in the early afternoon or as your late night cigar. This would also be a perfect match. How about some food pairings? I mentioned cookies and cream. Well, just grab a cookie, and that's most certainly a wonderful pairing to the cigar. And a glass of milk. You could also go for some green olives, given the fact that some of the tobaccos for the cigar were aged in a bourbon barrel. Most certainly, bourbon will be a great pairing to this. Me personally, I would go for a more creamy and wheated bourbon. Another recommendation that I like to give, an Austrian Trockenbeerenauslese or Beerenauslese would make for a fantastic combination with the cigar. Same, of course, is true for a Hungarian sweet wine like a Tokai or a Spätlese from Germany. In terms of coffee, I'd probably go for an espresso macchiato or a cappuccino with a little bit of milk froth on top. Overall, I truly enjoyed smoking through these various Perdomo Nicaragua Connecticut. It is a characterful Connecticut, still giving you a lot of these creamy, slight bitter sensations that you'd be looking for in a Connecticut, but with a lot more depth, body, and oomph to it. A robust cigar, offering complexity, depth, great length, pristine looks, and an enchanting overall experience. Before I forget, as always, for our reviews here at Bespoke Unit, we use the Bespoke Unit cigar formula, which is a quantifiable review matrix that you can use for your own reviews and tasting notes as well. If you scroll underneath the video, you will find a blank copy of the cigar formula, as well as the filled out sheet that I've used for the Perdomo review. Check it out, and please leave a comment underneath the video to let us know how you enjoy this wonderful smoke and using the Bespoke Unit cigar formula. And with that, I'll leave it to you, and I'll see you next time here at Bespoke Unit for another great cigar review. Be safe, be well, and light 'em up.